say boom, 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 say ba-da-dum, whoa, whoa, boom, say boom, 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 say boom, 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 say ba-da-dum, whoa, whoa, so long, ma, so long, pa, so long, neighbors and friends. That was Sweet City Woman by the Stampeders. I did a cover of this song a couple years ago, and if you haven't seen that video, you can click up there. There will be a little card banner that you can click on to get to that video. Also, I've made a tab for this song and with chords and lyrics, and you can get the PDF of that. Download the PDF by clicking on the link in the description. So if that's all you need, if that's all you came for, then you're good to go. But I am going to go over this song in a little further depth in this video. This is a tutorial I got a lot of, I've had a lot of requests for, and so I decided to do it. But before we get started, I would like to point out that this is, my cover of this song was multi-instrumental. I had a bass, percussion, background vocals. So I mean, that's really what it was, how I arranged it. And so, you know, it might not sound, if you're playing this by yourself, quite as cool or as good. I mean, basically it'll sound like what I played at the beginning of this video, which was a shortened version of the song, by the way. So there's that. Also, I use a high G, a regular standard reentrant tuning on my ukulele. If you have a low G, it'll sound fine, but I prefer the high G on this song, just so you know. So with all that being said, let's get into the song, starting with the chords. So it's really simple. There's actually only 3 chords in this whole song, and for the most part there's only 2 chords. For almost the entire song, it's the same exact chord progression. It's just G, which the numbers of the frets starting from the G string are 0, 2, 3, 2, just the regular way to play G, and then A minor, which of course is 2, 0, 0, 0. And for the strumming, what you're going to do, the strumming pattern, if we break it down into 2 halves, the first half is down, up, down, down. So down, up, down, down. Down, up, down, down. There's 3 beats. Down, up, down, down. And you're going to play that on G. Down, up, down, down. But on that 4th strum, the last strum of this part, you're going to take your pinky and you're going to put it down on the 5th fret of the A string, or the 1st string, for that strum. So, see, you're just putting it down on that last strum. Then, the second half is similar. You're going to lift your pinky back up, and it's down, up, down, up, up. So it starts similar, down, up, down, but it's going to be an up strum. And notice those first 4 strums, that up strum is right after the down strum. It's just down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. And then there's a little pause and another up strum. Down, up, down, up, up, down, up, down, up, up. And again, on the 4th strum, that up strum, which is the 4th strum, you're going to put your pinky down on the 5th fret of the A string right there. But there are 5 strums in this part, so on that 5th strum, you're going to lift it back up. So it's going to sound like this. Down, up, down, up, up. And so the whole thing sounds like this. And you can hear there's a little riff, a little kind of melody in the A string, that just the A string by itself would sound like this. And then you're going to go to the A minor chord, and you're actually going to play that exact same pattern. It's just with different notes. You're playing the A minor chord, of course, and then instead of going to the 5th fret on the A string those few times, you're going to go to the 2nd fret those 2 times in the pattern. 2nd fret A string. So. And if you can get that down, you've pretty much got the entire song. You're going to play that pattern once on the G chord, and then once on A minor, and then again on A minor. It's not just back and forth G, A minor, G, A minor. It's G once, A minor twice, and then G once again. So the whole thing sounds like this. And that's played throughout almost the entire song. And so, you know, it's really pretty simple. That's all it is. But there's just one part at the end of the first chorus where the chords are a little different. At the end of the first chorus, right after the first chorus, it goes bon, bon, c'est bon, c'est bon, bon. And for that, you're going to do this chunk. You're just going to meet the strings. You can, if you don't know how to do that, just rest your left hand on the strings without pressing down. And then hit just on the beat. 1, 2, 3, 4. But on the first one, you're going to actually hit the chord, play the chord G. And then mute it quickly afterwards, either with your right hand by resting it quickly on the strings, or you can take your pinky and rest it across the strings of your left hand. And so just for the first beat, and then, well, every 4 beats. So it's going to be that, and then 3 chunks, and then that again. So you're going to do that, and then at the end of this little part, it goes, whoa, whoa. And for those 2 notes, you're going to strum 2 chords, C and G, at the same time as singing those notes. Whoa, 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 whoa. Say ba-da-da, whoa, whoa. And so that whole section is say bon, 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 say bon, bon, bon. Say ba-da-da, whoa, whoa. And then you play that again. There's 2 times through that. And then right after that, it goes, so long, ma, so long, pa, so long, neighbors and friends. In that section, you're just going to play, the chord progression is C, G, A minor, G, and then A minor again, and G again. And that's, for that, if you get the chord sheet, you can see the chords are placed over which words to play the chords on, like where the chord changes are. You can get that from the chord sheet, but when you play the chords, there's no real strumming pattern. You're just strumming each chord 1 time and letting it ring out. So long, ma, so long, pa, so long, neighbors and friends, and then you go right back into the regular pattern. And so that is pretty much the entire song. There are a few little things that I'd like to go over, little embellishments you can add to your song, but you don't have to do them. They're optional. You can just play what I've shown you and you'll be good to go. But the first thing I'd like to go over is you can just is adding in some extra strums. So you may have noticed in the beginning when I played through this song of the video, I didn't play all the time the exact strumming pattern. I might have thrown in some extra strums here and there. And like one thing you can do is add an up strum before each half of the strumming pattern. So, you know, say the second half of the strumming pattern, it goes like this. Right? You can add an up strum right before that. So you notice. up strum there. That's a really good thing to do. And you can even experiment with filling in those gaps where there's a pause even a little more. I don't know if that makes sense, but I just gave you basically a foundation, and it'll sound fine if you play that way, but I would recommend kind of experimenting with adding some extra strums here and there. And you can listen to what I played at the beginning, and hopefully you can kind of hear what I'm doing that kind of adds to the basic strumming pattern. Also, when I sing, I'm not too worried about playing the exact strumming pattern. If I get off a little bit because I'm playing the rhythm that I'm singing rather than what I'm playing, that's okay. It's mostly the in-between parts that I really want to have that riff going. You know. But anyway, the other thing, or the next thing, is I play this tremolo, and this is what I do in the recording, and it's basically what they do in the original song as well, but this, something like that. A tremolo is just a really fast down, or fast down up, just down up, down up, down up, down up, down up strum, and then I'm taking that G chord and just sliding the whole thing up gradually. So, like that. And I play that basically before every section, right before the first verse, right before the chorus, right before the second verse, right before every section I'm playing that to go into it. So, let's take the last line of the first verse. And it feels so good cause I know she waits at the end of the line. You see. And honestly, if you've never really worked on on doing that fast tremolo strum, it could be kind of hard to have a good even sound. Or really, even if you do, this thing's kind of hard, I think, to make it sound good. And so it's totally optional. You don't have to worry about doing it in order to perform this song and have it sound good. But it's just something you can do, and I wanted to point out that I do that in the song. Another thing is in the chorus, I do this little thing on the line. I can see your face, I can hear your voice. I can almost touch you, almost touch you. Those 4 syllables, almost touch you. I strum 4 down strums in the same time as those words. Almost touch you. Almost touch you. But on the 3rd strum, I'm taking my pinky and putting it on the 3rd fret of the A string. Not the 5th fret like we usually do, but the 3rd fret. That actually makes it a G suspended chord. So. And then you continue with the rest of the pattern, down, up, up, but instead of going to the 5th fret with your pinky, you go to the 3rd fret. If that makes sense. Almost touch you. And you don't have to do this either, this is optional, but I like to do it. I think it kind of sounds cool to do that. Finally, the way I end the song is there's a little outro where it's, sweet, 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 sweet city woman, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, sweet, 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 sweet city woman, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da. And if you're playing this by yourself, I don't know if you would do those ba-da-da-das because, it's background vocals. There's multiple voices there in the recording. But if you do, I like to end the song exactly with the rhythm of those ba-da-da-da. It's just a down up, down up, down up, down up, ba-da-da-da, ba-da-da-da, sweet, 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 sweet city woman, ba-da-da, ba-da-da. And that's just a cool way to end it. Otherwise, you can end it however you want. You can just ring out the G chord or whatever. But that's how I end it, just so you know. So that's pretty much the entire song. You know, you can use those optional things, those little embellishments, or not. Either way, it'll sound fine. And I hope it's helpful. I did tab out there's a little solo. In there, and honestly, you're probably not going to play that if you're just playing this by yourself. You're strumming. I don't think you would play it, but I don't know what your intention is with this song. So I did tab that out, and that's on the chord sheet as well. It's not just the chords and the lyrics. Well, and I have the riff, or the tab for that main riff, but I tabbed out that solo just in case you want to know how to play that. Hopefully that it's enough for you to figure out the little solo. But anyway, that's the song. Again, a lot of people have asked me to do a tutorial on this song, and so I did. And you can get the tab if you haven't. You can get that chord and lyric sheet mostly, but also tab down in the description below. And again, if you haven't watched the video, you can click over there to get to that video, the original cover. And other than that, thanks for watching. If you liked this, if you would like to see more, please subscribe.